Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Krueger from Rice Village Animal Hospital. I'm the current practicing medical director, and I have Leslie, who's our head technician here, and she has some questions that we had already drawn up that you guys had about dental care in cats.
Dr. Krueger, why is dental care important for my cat?
Dental care is important for your cat because really their mouth, they are very stoic animals and they're not going to really always tell us when there's a problem or not. And so there's a lot of very painful issues, oral issues that cats can get that they may hide from us, and there's little things that we may be able to find, but it can essentially affect their whole overall health if they're not eating well.
How often should I brush my cat's teeth?
That's a good question. If you can brush your cat's teeth, because I get it, not every cat's going to let you do it, and we can talk a little bit further about that later on in this video because we have some other questions with that. But I would recommend you brush your cat's teeth every single day. I would start when they're a kitten because that's going to be the easiest time you're going to get them to be used to it, and brushing every day gets you both in the habit of doing it.
What type of toothbrush and toothpaste should I use for my cat?
So the toothbrush and toothpaste, I would use ones that are made for cats. I wouldn't get any human ones, and the main thing is that there's fluoride in human toothpaste, and sometimes the bristles on human toothbrushes can be a little bit abrasive to their gums, and so there's a lot of awesome products on the VOHC website, vohc.org. It's a Veterinary Oral Health Council, and they have a lot of approved products that a bunch of veterinary dentists got together and said these are great products, and they do have other different types of products on there, but mainly for the brush and toothpaste, would stick with ones that are veterinary only.
What are the signs of dental problems in cats?
Yeah, so some common signs that I'll hear, and cats can present in any type of way with this, but like I said earlier, they are very stoic, so you might not notice anything. All you notice is when you lift their lip up, one of their teeth looks funny, and that's why I see them. Or you may notice all the way to the point where they have really bad breath. I've also heard of signs of cats just not eating well, dropping food, yowling when they're eating, which means they're uncomfortable. And those are a lot of the signs, but there really are a lot of different ones. And so I think watching how they're eating is probably the biggest sign you're going to notice.
How can I tell if my cat has a toothache?
One way you can tell if your cat has a toothache is if they're vocalizing when they're eating or drinking water or chewing on one side of their mouth. It's kind of what I said earlier too. Those are the most common signs, but like I said, cats are very stoic and they always want to show that they're uncomfortable. So that's where us as the veterinary professionals rely on you at home noticing that there may be something dramatically off about your cat that you're like, why did this change? And then that's where we start with the physical exam and then assessing their teeth and seeing if that's actually a problem.
What are the most common cat tooth infection symptoms?
Some of the most common infection signs are going to be halitosis or bad breath. That's the biggest reason why I'll have people bring their cats in and I find that there's a tooth infection is because of that. But I mean, just like we were talking about earlier, they can be vocalizing when they're eating, not eating as well, dropping food, maybe not wanting to eat, having a preference in food changes. So there's a lot of things that go along with cats.
What are the common dental diseases in cats?
The most common dental diseases that I'll see in cats will be just bad dental disease in general, so periodontal disease, and so that's where tartar and plaque forms and they get really bad gingivitis, and then that recesses up and their teeth can even fall out, all the way to some cats can have issues, and this is another common one, is cats will have issues where their body's own cells will break down the actual enamel of the teeth that can go all the way to the pulp cavity and be really uncomfortable. Similar like what a cavity is, it's just not the same process that happens in people. And so a lot of times we'll say, hey, your cat's got a cavity, but really what it is a erosive lesion or a resorptive lesion sometimes is what we call them.
How often should my cat have a professional dental cleaning?
That's a great question. So cats generally will start needing dental cleanings by about 3 or 4 years old, but there's a variable on this. Some cats need it a little sooner. We think that's probably more due to genetics than anything else. But after that point, a lot of times it's annually. And the reason behind that is when we do dental cleanings with cats, we will notice that about 60% of cats will have some sort of dental disease under the gum line. So over half of cats will have that. So We do recommend doing it every year, especially if you did one the previous year. It's a good way to check in, get those dental radiographs done, and just make sure we're not missing anything, because what we hate doing is pulling teeth out, and unfortunately that's a big thing that we have to do with these lesions, and so we're trying to avoid that.
What can I do at home to prevent dental disease in my cat?
Yeah, and so kind of one of the first things we talked about, brushing. That's probably the best thing you can do if you're able to do it. And that website we talked about, vohc.org, they also have a lot of products out there if you can't brush your cat's teeth. There's water additives, there are some dental wipes also that you still have to put your finger in the mouth to do it. There's also some good treats and stuff like that. There's also some cat foods that are prescription cat foods. So if brushing is not happening or all these other things your cat does not like, which is very common, we can also look into some prescription diets.
Is bad breath in cats always a sign of dental disease?
It's not always the sign of dental disease, but more than likely it probably is. And that's where either somewhere where we can't look and see, and we may not see it on physical exam. There's a lot of different oral lesions, like I said earlier, that we find by doing the dental x-rays, or once we get them sedated, we're able to look in their mouth and find these lesions that I wouldn't have found by just looking at your cat while they're awake.
Can my cat's diet affect their dental health?
Yeah, so there was a long-standing thing in veterinary medicine saying that a hard food versus canned food. And as of right now, there's not really great evidence one way or the other, unless that food is a prescription diet. And so prescription diets, yes, but over-the-counter foods it probably doesn't matter which one they get. Genetics probably has to play more of a role with it. But if we do use a prescription diet, I would make sure we do that, because it can do two different things. One, break the tartar off their teeth and help use that as an abrasive motion instead of brushing, obviously if you can't do that. And there are some other things that, like chemicals, that will help clear bacteria in the mouth to help keep plaque from forming.
What are the risks of not treating dental disease in cats?
One of the risks of not treating dental disease is, of course, obviously them having bad breath and breathing on you. Hey, buddy. And the other things that we have are bad dental disease, which can affect their heart, can affect their kidneys, because that bacteria that's in their mouth when they chew can be broken off and go into the bloodstream and cause all these other issues around the body. And one of the things we're still not 100% sure about is, does that affect cats' kidney issues? Because that's another issue cats can have long term, and we won't cover that in this video, but that is something that we do worry about. And I think their general comfort, since they're such stoic animals, you might not know they're uncomfortable until they have a dental cleaning.
How can I make brushing my cat's teeth easier?
That's a good question. Trying to get them used to it. And so that's where it starts at a young age. And if you have an older cat now, just starting and trying to get them used to it, giving them rewards for it, if that helps with your cat. But I think one thing I always tell people is to kind of split the mouth up into like 4 quadrants, and don't go into it trying to brush their entire mouth at one time. Go into it thinking, hey, I'm gonna just do this upper right quadrant or this lower left one, and then every day do a new one, and just get them used to their whole mouth, and then slowly add on. If you brushed 1 tooth and you haven't done that in the past, that's a benefit. Maybe the next day or the next week you do 2 teeth, and it's a process of getting you both used to that.
Are there any dental treats or toys that can help keep my cat's teeth clean?
Yeah, there's definitely some treats. The VOHC, veterinaryoralhealthcouncil.org, some fantastic treats and toys and everything that have been reviewed by some veterinary dentists, because there are veterinary dentists out there, they're specialists, and that's something that not all cats may like everything on there, but it's worth a shot to try to figure that out, especially if you can't brush your cat's teeth.
What should I expect during a professional dental cleaning for my cat?
Yeah, so much similar to dogs, which is kind of the same process. So for dental cleanings for cats, what we do is we all worry about the anesthesia, and so that's a conversation that you should have with your veterinarian. But at our hospital, what we end up doing, it's a whole outpatient procedure. They're here for the whole day. And so they come in, we kind of talk to you a little bit about how they've been doing, make sure they're healthy that day. We'll either have blood work run beforehand, or we would run it the day of the procedure, and then we do anesthetize them for this. And so when they go under anesthesia, that allows us to protect their airway, because there's a lot of water used when we clean their teeth. And if they don't breathe very well, we can actually breathe for them, so it helps protect them. And they really have to go under anesthesia to get these things done, like a cleaning, because we polish their teeth once they're out, we scale all the tartar off, and then we polish it, and then we take some dental x-rays. And that's where, like I said earlier in this video, we may find some things on the dental x-rays that are under the gum line that I'm not going to be able to see. And so those are things we can address. And a lot of times we'll give you a phone call along the way, let you know that they're doing well, and then let you know when they're recovered and when they can go home. And they may act a little funny depending on the drugs we use, and so that's stuff we can go over at that time. But that's kind of the general idea of what happens in our clinic with the dental clinic.
Can cats get cavities, and how are they treated?
Yeah, so cats can definitely get cavities. You know, we talked a little bit about that in the previous questions, and it's really, they either have bad dental disease or they get some lesions where their body actually breaks down their enamel and then it goes into their pulp. And like I said, cats, you may not notice it, and so they can, and we'll call them cavities a lot of times, but they're really something we call a resorptive lesion. And yeah.
Can cats get cavities, and how are they treated?
Yeah, so cats can definitely get cavities. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the video, and they really get that from, we'll call them resorptive lesions, but I commonly refer to them as cavities because that's what we hear when we go to the dentist. And they're a little bit different process. Their body breaks them down, and unfortunately, the way we generally treat those is by removing the whole tooth. And it depends on how diseased the tooth is. It depends on what we do. So that's something that's a decision we make during the dental procedure. But yeah, so that's, yes, they can.
Why is my cat losing teeth?
Some cats can lose teeth for, just bad dental disease. Or if they're like outdoor cats, they can get in cat fights and stuff like that, and they can fracture their teeth. But I'd be really worried if they have teeth falling out, because if they're getting cavities, they're affecting their teeth that bad, or their dental disease is so bad that their teeth get loose and fall out. It's something that we really need to take care of for their quality of life.
Why would my cat need to have teeth pulled?
Well, cats can have teeth pulled for a lot of reasons. Obviously we just talked about the ones where if they have really bad dental disease or these cavity-like lesions, but also if you do have a cat that's going outside, or a bunch of cats in one house, and they fight with each other, or they chew on stuff, they can absolutely fracture some teeth, and that's one reason to remove it, especially if it's uncomfortable or goes into the pulp cavity.
Call to action.
Okay, we'll stop it and redo it then. If you guys have any questions at all, I added my buddy here, Padre. He's our clinic cat. You saw him a little bit earlier in the video. He came in to see if I had any treats or anything. But if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and give us a phone call. Our phone number is 713-527-0489, and make an appointment, or we can chat with you on the phone. Thanks.